Hey, happy Thursday. Thanks for joining me, everyone. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery kits. And I am here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. And it's a time where we can relax and craft for about an hour together in the evening and work on a project. And I usually do the projects from beginning to end so you can see the whole process along the way. And it's Thursday, which means it is new Splendid Sampler to Quilt Along block. And the block for today is Rose and Dot by Lori Kennedy. Look at how adorable that is. So there's some applique in that again. That's how we make all these shapes is applique. And we have the chance to decide what type of applique we're going to do again. And I've decided to try and do this block in the fastest way possible. And that's with raw edge applique, as far as I think. But, you know, she threw me for a loop a little bit. I was all set to do it super fast with the raw edge, but she has instruction to put some batting in this circle to kind of poof it up a little bit. And then I was like, oh man, how can I get that batting in there yet and still do the raw edge applique and still do it really fast? And I think I have an idea. We'll see if it works. But I'd love to get this done as soon or as quickly as we can because I am totally falling behind in the blocks and it'd be awesome to get really far tonight so we can finish it tomorrow and possibly work on another block. Working on one of our unfinished blocks tomorrow too would be amazing. So that's the plan. And just to let you guys know, and I talked about this in my newsletter that went out today if you got that, but on Saturday, I'm going to have a Saturday sewing session. So on Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Central Time, I'm going to sit down here and work on block 5. So this was point taken, block 5. I was out last week, so I didn't get to work on this block at all. So I thought we'd stitch this guy up on Saturday. So if you wanted to join me for that, that will be in the morning, 10:30 a.m. Central Time, Saturday. So we'll be doing that then. And then so tonight, again, we are going to work on Rose and Dot. We'll probably have to finish this up tomorrow yet. I don't think we'll get it all done tonight. And I would like to sneak in a little bit of work on another block, one of our unfinished blocks too. So, all right, guys, I'm going to flip you around and we'll get started. Ooh, and also make sure to check out my link to Mass Drop. My embroidery kits are back up on there, so I'd love if you check that out as well. So, all right, time to flip. Okay, here we are, starting with the box of fabric. So I've collected all my fabric for this entire quilt is in here, and I keep it in this little bin so I can move the project around really easily. So we need to pick colors. So I'm going to just set this to the side about right there so we can still see it. I want to use white. That's kind of one of my parameters is to use, that I set for myself, to use white as much as I can for the background. So I think we're going to use white for the top. I just kind of like to lay it out so we can kind of get a sense of it. There. I have the iron on, which is good because we'll need to press this guy. He's looking pretty wrinkly. All right, so let's see. I'm thinking we'll probably stick to another lightish color for this bottom section because we're going to want the flower to pop off the page somehow. So if we stay light in the background, then anything darker will pop out. And I still want to use from this stack over here, not my extras stack over here. This is just like use sparingly pile. I want to try and use from here. So let's see a background color, maybe like a ground. Or maybe we should go like full floral, like here's a pretty floral. Let's just lay that down there for a sec here. I'm gonna throw that to the side. Okay, could do something like that. That's maybe a little bit busy. So maybe we just keep it simple. Here's just some circles for now. Let's keep it light and simple for now. Let's pick something really fun for the back, that big flower. Like this is kind of a splashy fabric. We could do that for the background. What about for the leaves and the stem? We need something a little bit darker to stand off on this, I would think. This might work. All my colors are very light. I'm going for a very pale quilt, so it's pretty difficult for me to get contrast between the background and the foreground items. So it's an extra little challenge. You know, this might be even lighter. Well, you know what? If I do a bunch of bright kind of yellows for the flower, that will maybe help it pop off of the background too. This orange is always pretty. This could be our center. You know, this is kind of bright and snazzy. Should we do this? I don't think I have anything that reads darker than this, which is kind of crazy. Maybe. Nope, that still reads as a little lighter. Yeah, and anything when we go to the yellow for the background, it starts to blend in compared to this tan. So you know what? I think let's just jam on this. I think this will do the job. I don't have a pale green, Linda. This is seriously all I'm doing. I'm doing very. I grabbed all my neutrals. So I'm doing very, very light neutrals. And it kind of bleeds into light yellows. So that's what I'm talking about. It's a little bit of a challenge for me to get contrast, but that's kind of the challenge I set for myself for this quilt. And then every once in a while, I have this other set here. So here's where all the poppy colors go. Here it would be very easy to, you know, I can easily add a bright color or something. But I'm trying to use these super sparingly because I want my quilt in the end to read as this like pale blonde quilt. So I only want to use these like every 5 blocks or so, and just barely any, like, you know, maybe just like one teeny pop, you know what I mean? But I'm not gonna use it for this block. We'll try and keep it like this. But I think on Saturday, I think I might pull from this stack to get our first pop of color. Since that's block 5, I thought, you know, I've been saying kind of every 5 blocks or so, we'll add a little pop of color for that. So I know it's so tempting to just use those other colors, but I'm really, as a challenge for myself for this quilt, I'm really trying to keep it to these super pale creams and whites and yellows. So all right, I think we got it. I think we got it here. I think it's going to be a yellow sunflowery dude with a yellow stem, kind of a little gold yellow stem and leaves, and then this little kind of floral, kind of goofy. It has some of that yellow in to bring it together. And you know what? It has this weird blue, so that's kind of a goofy little pop for the center. So all right, let's scooch the fabric out of the way. All right, let's get going. So we need to cut pieces. First, we're gonna cut. We'll cut these 2 pieces and sew them together. This is for the background. You know, so we do the background bit first. Let's get that done and out of the way, and then we will work on the applique pieces. And I'm going to be using this Steam-A-Seam again. We used this on the elephant block, and I think it worked fabulously. So I will be using this again for the applique, the fusible applique part of it. So all right, starting out, I need to just press a tiny little bit of. I must have just squished this back into the bin because it is real wrinkly. So all right, let's scooch over to my pressing mat. We'll just get this little area here. My amazing cordless iron. I love this thing so much. Okay, slick. We're good to go there. Okay, and let's just, because we pressed the one, let's press the other. Oh, it looks like we used this a little bit before too for part of this quilt already. We'll press this little area here. Okay, moving on. Let's trim those pieces. So I got my cutting board here. We need a 3.5 by 6.5 inch piece of each of these. So I'm going to just lay these on top of each other. And I'm going to just, ooh, I got a little bit of selvage in here. I'm going to move this over a little bit. I think I might just use my 6.5 inch ruler here. I think I might just scooch here. Oops, let's get you guys in the frame. I think I'm just going to scooch up along the edge of this and then cut in like the 3.5 inches or so. Here, we'll do it with the 1/2 inch side. And then we'll rotate it and just do the other side. We'll just do it real simple, like no extra long rulers or anything. We're just going to keep it like this. So let's check again. 6.5 by 3.5. Okay. Oh, am I going to make the background slightly larger? Oh, Lucy, that is a good point. You know what? Yep, I am. So for these pieces that have applique and embroidery, we've been making them a little bit larger because with applique and embroidery, sometimes while you stitch, you pull the fabric together, you scrunch it up just a little by little, and it can affect the whole size of the block. So you know what? I think you're absolutely right. Let's get a little bit bigger. Let's do them 7 inches instead. So, well, I don't know. Let's do 7 inches. 7 inches, and then I would have to do like 4 inches, right? 4 inches minus 1/2, we would end up at 7.5 inches. I still think, nah, we'll do 7 by 4 just to be sure. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Math is going to be tough for me today. So we'll do kind of 4 inches or so. And I'm going to just pick up this whole, instead of picking up my stack here, just because it's all nice and together and square, I'm going to just rotate my mat. Getting her done how we need to get it done. Okay. And we will do another like 4 inches. I think that's too much, the 4 inches, but again, it'll still work out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I get so nervous with cutting. So all right, we'll cut right there. Gretchen, if you did not make yours bigger, you're probably going to be perfectly fine. You probably won't have any problems at all. This is probably overkill. If you are doing needle turn applique, you'll want to think about making it a little bit bigger, more than what we're doing with the fusible raw edge applique. So I think we're going to be fine. Oh, Lydia, you watched on YouTube for 2 years. Awesome. First time catching live. Woohoo! You prefer the big screen. Nice. All right, so we got our 2 pieces. I can't tell if it's the right or the wrong side, so I'm going to just check. Oh, that's the right side. So here we go. Step 1. Join the square. Join these rectangles and press it open. I can do that. All right, to the machine. So we have been free motion quilting for such a long time on here that, ooh, I just moved that. I wonder if my scan inch is going to be off. But it feels so weird to have a normal presser foot on the machine again. I did a little test, so just to check the tension, and it just was so odd. Getting back into it again. So I think the machine sounds a whole lot quieter. Before I came on here tonight, I gave it a good oiling. It was sounding a little funny yesterday during our free motion quilting session here. I think it sounds much quieter now, so that's good. All right, let's press this. In the instructions, the arrows are going both ways. Let me show you guys. So the arrows are going both ways, which means those are the directions that we're pressing. So in this case, that means pressing it open. I think that's going to be good for applique because it'll lay a little flatter, all the little applique pieces on top. So I'm going to just press to one side to get it going. Oh man, if I can separate these. There we go. It looks like our signal might be a little bit poor. I'm just going to finish pressing this. All right. Okay, good. You guys, it just popped back on. So it looks like the signal was being a little weird. Hopefully we'll be fine. I'm probably going to keep going because I think it'll show up on YouTube. But we'll see how it goes. But I just pressed this open, and I'm just going to give it one more press on this side. And step one is donezo. So here we go. Oh, Lori, I'm happy you liked my post about not being perfect. So you guys should check that out if you want on the Penguin and Fish Crafters group. A lot of people talk about just the need for having things perfect, and it ends up actually being a struggle. Like crafting isn't fun anymore, even because there's like just so worried about being perfect, and I'm totally there with you. And I just had a couple tips that I wrote down in the Penguin and Fish Crafters page on that to hopefully help not like judge yourself too harshly, and just some strategies that I use personally every time I'm working on a project, really to stave off of the perfection. Just trying to do really good work is great. To strive for excellence is great, but when you start feeling bad about yourself that it's not getting to the perfection point, when you're not having fun doing it anymore, then that's the problem. So I have some strategies in there for that. But all right, we are done with this little ground area. This kind of looks like ground. I'm just going to set this to the side for now. So the instructions have, for this stem, it has us making a strip that we fold in the edges, so we have a nice folded over edge stem. I'm going to skip that part. Since I'm doing raw edge applique, if I'm doing needle turn applique, all these edges would be turned under nicely, and we'd have all these perfectly little turned under edges that are nice and clean. But for raw edge applique, we're keeping that edge raw, meaning it's not being tucked under and hidden. So I don't need to tuck under and hide the edges for the stem. So I'm going to actually skip how she's doing it in this part, but you can see she's folding in the edges to the side, so you have a nice folded edge. If you're doing needle turn, I would suggest doing it this way. This will be a real quick way to get your piece ready for needle turn applique. But since I'm doing raw edge, I'm going to just, she's starting with a 1" by 3.5" strip and ending up with a 3.5" strip by a 1/2" wide. So I'm going to just make a 3.5 by 1/2" stem with the raw edge applique. Yeah, okay, you guys, if it's getting blurry or if it cuts out a little, I think we're still good on my end as far as the picture. So in the YouTube replay will be okay. And it looks like it's coming in and out a little bit. All right, so I'm going to grab a sheet of the Stick and Stitch, or the Steam-A-Seam, the Steam-A-Seam 2. And look, we got a piece started from the elephant already, so that's great. I'm going to take this second sheet, and first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trace all these elements onto the Steam-A-Seam. So we need 2 leaves, a flower, and the little center of the flower there. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to leave a little bit of an edge all the way around because I'm not going to trim these quite on the line. I'm going to trim on the outside of the line. So I do want a little bit of an edge. So I'm just going to quickly get these guys going. So this is a fusible web. It's a little bit different. I'm not totally used to it yet. This is only the second time I've used the Steam-A-Seam. Typically, it has a side that's paper and a side that's kind of the glue dots. And this one has paper on both sides, so it confuses me a little bit. But it's because it's actually sticky. It acts like a sticker and a fusible all at once, the Steam-A-Seam, so it's kind of neat. But it worked better than my Heat and Bond Light last time when we did the elephant, so that's why I'm using it. So I'm leaving a little bit of a gap here. I don't want to butt them up right next to each other because I do want, I'm going to cut with a little seam allowance on these guys before we cut them out perfectly later. Tracy, I'm not tracing on the grid side, and that's, the instructions on this paper are lacking, I think, and how it made sense for me for the elephant was to draw on this side instead of the other side. So that's why I'm doing it that way. There's a lot of weird wrinkles in here. I'm going to just, since I don't want it all wrinkly, I'm going to draw this one at the bottom here. I am going to use the batting. I'm going to try using the batting in a way that I have never done before. So I have a theory that this might work, or it might be a total failure. So if you read further in the instructions, she puts a little piece of batting in the flower and then tucks under the edges and stitches it on needle turn applique. I like that idea of batting because it would poof up the flower, and it was such a cute idea that I'm like, oh man, I can't just do the raw edge applique for that. I wanna try doing that poofy flower. So I have an idea of how I can use this Steam-A-Seam to go quickly and still use the batting. And one other technique that's kind of fastish still. It's going to be a little experiment, so we'll see how it works. So all right, I'm going to cut these out. Wait, this is all we need, right? Let's double check. Oh no, you guys, I'm missing something. Remember, I got to do this stem too, so I need a 3.5 inch by a 1/2 inch bit. Almost forgot that. So you know what? Let's use a ruler for that. Would it fit up here, I wonder? 1, 2, 3.5. Yeah, let's do it here. So let's just go like this. I need it to be 1/2 inch. Oh gosh, that's skinny. By 3.5. So we'll draw it that way. And get down the line there. Square it up all nice. Okay, so there we are. I thought I was missing something. Okay, so now we can cut this out. Cindy, I hope it works too. Yeah, so Pam, I think that's what I'm going to try. I'm going to try ironing it on the batting, and then I'm going to try doing a yo-yo around the batting. I have no idea if it's going to work, but we're going to try. So, all right, I'm going to just trim these out. So when I trim these, I don't want to trim right on the lines yet. I'm just going to roughly trim around the lines. So like, yeah, 1/8 of an inch or so. Linda, 2 pieces might work better. I am going to attempt to do it with 1 because then, I don't know, it might be a little more floaty. We'll just see. It's going to be an experiment. We may find out that, you know what, two circles would have been better than 1. So 1 can stick to the batting and 1 can stick to the fabric. But I'm going to try it so it just sticks to the fabric. And I'm ultimately going to sew these down with the machine too. Helen, it's still looking good on my side, so hopefully it comes back for you. And you guys, if it does totally cut out, like if we have like a lot of trouble tonight, it seems pretty okay. It only cut out once on my side. You know, sometimes that's just the way Facebook land goes. But we'll continue this tomorrow for sure yet, so don't fret. All right, one last little bit and we should be good. Again, I'm not cutting quite on the line, so I'm just cutting real fast because this doesn't need to be pretty or perfect. You don't want huge seam allowances though, because then you'll be wasting more fabric, so just little itty bitty pieces. Okay, so we're going to do something special with the big circle. That's the one we're going to do the batting in. So I'm going to just put that aside for now. And we're going to do these first, just so I can do one thing at a time and not get totally messed up. So, all right, first of all, where'd I set my fabric? Agenda 1. All right, here we go. All right, that guy's for later. This will be the center circle, and these are the little pieces. So let's try this center circle first. So I'm putting the wrong side of the fabric up. And all right, so let's look at this piece. So I drew on this side. This side, I should be able to pull off, and it should be kind of like a sticker. So this has paper on both sides. So here we go. So it kind of doesn't matter what side we trace it on, I suppose. This steam seam is extra special in that it's sticky. It's like a sticker. Most fusibles have a paper on one side and it's just the glue dots on this side, and it's not sticky. You just place it and it's fine. But this is sticky, so we got an extra little bonus of when we stick it on, then it's not going anywhere. I want to kind of fussy do this a little bit where I get one of these flowers. I want to make sure I get, we'll just go right here. So that flower will be kind of in the middle, and I'm not wasting a bunch of fabric. So, all right, we're going right there. So I stuck it down. Again, if you don't have the steam seam, it won't stick, but you'll just set it there. And we will give that a little press. Just do whatever it says in the instructions for your fusible web. I actually don't know what it says in the instructions for this. We're going to just hold it there for a few seconds. You want to just make sure that it is stuck to the fabric, and it looks like pretty good. We're on there. So I'm going to just finish this guy since I have it here before moving on to these parts. But now is when we are going to get real slow and cut right on our lovely line that we trace. And just to make it, you know, this is going to be our edge. So we want to make this edge as pretty and clean as possible. So I'm going to go real slow. I suppose I could have traced it a little bit better. It's kind of wonky. On the blog post for this, Lori Kennedy, the designer's post, she suggested using a template to, like a circle template to help. I'm concentrating, I can't talk and cut, but to help make like perfect circles. And that might be a good idea. Ours is going to be a less than perfect circle. How about that? Oh, speaking of circles, if you guys, I was going to mention this at the beginning, but if you guys wanted to do needle turn applique, which is that nice tucked under edge, instead of this raw edge applique, I would highly, highly recommend you checking out my video for the milk and cookies block. Wait, milk and cookies, that's what it's called, right? The milk and cookies block, because I did a special technique in that to pre-turn your needle turn applique, and it works fabulously and quick for circles, especially in particular, and it would work super well on these leaves as well. So I would check out my post on that in on my YouTube page on Penguin and Fish Movies. All right, we're gonna leave this as is for now. I'm gonna leave that. There's that second piece of paper on there. I'm gonna leave that there for now. We don't need that all prepped quite yet. Let's do these. And here. This looks funny to me. Was this? Yeah, this is the fabric we picked out, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, Jill, it is my Kai. I think they're 8-inch dressmaker shears. The dressmakers have that angle so it can lay flat on a flat surface when you're cutting. But holy cow, these are the sharpest scissors. It's the Kai 7230. It is the sharpest, smoothest scissors I've ever used. It's pretty awesome. All right, let's just get rid of some wrinkles here. Okay, time for these dudes. Let's, this is an all over pattern on this, meaning on the fabric, meaning in any direction it's gonna look okay. So I'm not gonna worry about, you know, having these perfectly upright or anything. I'm gonna just stick the leaves on however they wanna stick. So again, let's take off this back, the one paper, if I can. I haven't put nail polish on in a while, guys. I thought I'd let the nails breathe for a few days. I don't know. All right, I'm taking the wrong side of the paper off. Got to get a fingernail in there, I guess. There, I think I got it. Okay. And stick that down. Again, a lot of these don't have stickers. We'll go like there, I guess. You can just lay it on if you don't have a scissor. The wireless iron, or the cordless iron Pam, it is heavy, but it almost feels like you just let its weight, let it glide along on its own weight. So it's actually kind of nice. I'm just kind of randomly putting these. I don't know what I'm doing here. Let's keep it to an edge. How about that? I can put that scissors in the link. I think it might be in the Facebook link already. If it's not, I totally forgot, and I'll get it in. I'll get it in the YouTube link for sure. I think it might be in this Facebook link though as well. In my Facebook description. Okay, we're just sticking this guy here. All right, let's fuse these guys down. Again, I'm just gonna hold it there for, I don't know, 10-ish seconds or so. Should do the job. That stem. You like a heavier iron? Yeah, this has definitely got heft to it. But again, it feels like you could just let it have its own weight and move it around. It's kind of nice. All right, I think we're good. Good there. Oh gosh, these are hot. I'm gonna have to let them cool for a second. Okay, so let's trim those out. Again, we wanna trim these real nice because these are gonna be the actual edges. I'm gonna trim them out first just because it's easier to cut without all that weight of the rest of our fabric. So we'll just shimmy these out. You know, I think I'm going to start with this 3-inch guy, this guy here. And you know what? I'm going to use a rotary cutter because why not have it be a little nicer? Okay, grab a ruler. I'm just going to get, I suppose we could do it the same way. 3.5 inches we're shooting for. I'll use the line as a guide, but I'll use my ruler to measure too. There we are. There is a link in the description. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Bonnie. I feel like I try and get everything in there, but sometimes I forget or we start talking about something else that I wasn't expecting to talk about, and then I don't have all the links I need. Okay, what a skinny little guy. Ooh, I'm glad I'm doing this with a rotary cutter though, because this would have been tough to cut straight out. All right, it's sticking to my rotary cutter. Okay, so that piece is done. Look how clean and pretty. All right, lovely. And then these two little guys. And after this, I'm going to try the thing with the batting. And I have one more little thing with the fabric, one extra step with the fabric to do. And that's where the experiment comes in. So after these leaves comes the experiment. Oh, Marie, oh, I'm sorry, it's acting up on your end. Yep, so this will go up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies when I'm done here tonight, and the replay will be there. The lives can be just so sketchy sometimes. It's dependent on everyone's individual Wi-Fi and, you know, what Facebook wants to be doing that day, and whole pile of fun. Whole pile of variables. All right, again, I'm going real slow here because I want these curves as nice as I can. It's so funny, I get quiet when I'm cutting because I feel like cutting just takes so much of my concentration. It's just so silly. My tongue's not sticking out though yet like it was for the free motion quilting concentration. I'm not concentrating that much. Okay, there we go. So those guys are done. We don't need this fabric anymore. Okay, let's try this goofy experiment. So move these out of the way. All right, I am going to attempt to put this piece onto batting instead of the fabric, because she had mentioned putting a little batting in between the fabric and the background fabric before stitching it on, which totally makes sense if you're just stitching, because you can wrap the fabric around the batting and tuck it underneath the batting and then add your little stitches. But for this raw edge technique, we can't really do that because you would see the raw edge of the batting, right? And we don't want that silly batting edge there. So we're going to try something. So we're going to put this on we're going to pretend this is fabric right now and put it on here and cut out our circle. So first we need to remove this first backing paper. All right. And we'll just plop it there. Give it a little press. I'm assuming it should press just fine. I love having my workspace like this where cut, press, and then sew is right there. I don't have to move at all from space to space, which is nice. I mean, I am working in a very small space, so I have small things everywhere, but I kind of like it. Okay, that feels on. So let's trim this. I do want to trim it as nicely as I can again. So around that line, you know what? Let's trim the batting first again. It's easier to cut with all that without that big stuff dangling in our way. Okay, let's trim. Now we're directly on the line this time. You know, I had some white batting. I should have maybe used that instead because this is an unbleached cotton batting, so it has little flecks in it. And if you're using that with really light colored fabrics like I am, sometimes you can see those flecks through to the front, to the outside of the quilt. But luckily we have that bright, fun yellow fabric for this, so I think we'll be okay. I don't think we'll be able to see these little flecks through. All right, almost done. Okay, that's a good looking circle. So here's the batting on one side, and then we have the fusible on the other. All right, here's where more of the experiment comes in. Okay, so this is the flower color we want. I'm gonna try and do that technique. So this is a technique that you can do if you wanna pre-turn circles for needle turn applique. We're gonna basically make a yo-yo and do that. So I'll show you what I mean in a sec here. Let's give it a little press first, just this little corner here. Yeah, well, actually, you know what? It looks like we started cutting from the other side already. So let's try and use up. Yeah, we'll do it right here. Use up a space that we've already cut on. Okay, that's good enough. Use the batting with yours. Oh, but you did machine applique. Just cut the batting slightly smaller than the flower. Oh, and then use fabric glue to secure it. So we're kind of doing something a little similar. I'm hoping it goes a little faster with the idea of this yo-yo. So I'm placing it on here, and I'm actually going to cut a circle about a ½ inch, maybe even more. Let's exaggerate a little bit. Maybe a little bit more than a ½ inch all the way around. And you know what? This does not have to be perfect. So I'm going to just, this is my guide, I'm going to just kind of draw a little edge around here. It does not have to be a perfect circle. There, kind of like that. All right, and I'm going to cut this out. Again, just real roughly. So here's where my super fast way of trying to get this all done in one day, this is kind of where it starts to break down when I wanted to try and get this batting in here. But this is still going to be relatively quick, and I think it's going to work. So let's kind of give it a go still. All right, done with that fabric. So to do a yo-yo, what we need is a needle and some thread. So I'm gonna get our friend Zeb here out. Let's grab a nice long needle from him. He can sit right here. And here, he can sit right here so you guys can see him. And let's grab, like some thread on the sewing machine, how about? Just gotta trim it from the machine. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna just cut a piece that's at least the diameter of that, maybe a little longer. So right there. So I'm gonna quickly do a running stitch around the edge here. I'm not gonna tie a knot, and I'm gonna start on the right side of the fabric, and just a little bit from the edge, you know, a ½ inch or so. I'm going to just start weaving in and out around that edge. And once it feels like it's hard to turn, I'm going to just pull it through. And I'm going to leave a good tail on there. We're going to leave it there. I don't want to pull that tail through. So this is where it gets slower, but it's going to go still pretty quick to go around this edge, and I think this is going to go just a little faster. It's going to end up being a little rounder, I think, than if I try doing this with glue. If you've done, oops, got caught there. If you've done kind of a glue-basted edge before, I'm trying to avoid that by doing this. Although this adds time too, so. You know, I'm going to fuse these down to my background, and I'm still going to machine sew them down. So we might end up doing that machine fusing tomorrow, or the machine stitching, I mean, not fusing, the machine stitching. But I'd like to still maybe get there tonight. You did the applique circle, turn inside out, then cut the batting. Oh, awesome! So that worked to make it like a little pillow and glued it in. Perfect, Noeline. So that's kind of what we did for the milk and cookies, right? That is a slick way of making a circle and have it still be needle turn. It's just super fun. So you can see I'm not being perfect with these. I'm just getting it done, really. I think the smaller, or the like little closer together the stitches, your circle might be just a hair better, but I think we're gonna be fine. And we just have a little ways to go yet. We're about 3/4 done. So it's not our totally super quick way where we just do the full-on applique, but I think we'll get a raw edge applique with the fusible, but I think it'll be fun with this batting. I couldn't pass up the idea of the batting when I saw it in the instructions. So we're doing it. All right, we're reaching the end. I want to end my stitches pretty much where I started and coming out the front still. Okay, so like right here, that's where we started. And I'm gonna just take the needle out, put it back into Zeb there. And there we go. So we've stitched all the way around the edge, and we have the two tails coming out the front here. So what we're gonna do here is now we're gonna flip it over. Again, this is still our experiment stage. Let's put our our batting down with the glue side, the part that we still haven't taken that paper off. Let's put that down so the glue side is facing up. And actually at this point, I'm gonna also take off that paper, which is always easier said than done. There we go. So now the glue dots are exposed, and since we're using that steam a seam, it's also sticky, which is kind of fun, which will be to our benefit in this case. So I'm going to put this right in the center. You can see our stitched lines around the edge. I'm going to just hold this in the center, and I'm going to pull on the little strings, and they will start to wrap around our batting. Ooh, gosh, but it's stuck to my hands. And because the batting is thick enough, I think we're going to keep our shape of the circle. And because it's sticky, it just happens to be sticky, it's actually sticking that edge down a little bit. Hold on, I'm going to try and crisscross these ends to pull them a little bit easier. There, I'm going to just kind of overcompensate and stick it all down and come back a little. So here's what it looks like from the front. So right now it's really only being held on by this sticky part. I'm just going to kind of tuck this last little bit under. Let's pull that tight. Grab both ends. Get it all stuck on there. Okay. And there is still enough fusible exposed that I should still be able to fuse this down to my fabric. And since I'm machine stitching the outer edge, we're going to end up attaching this side edges too. So we should be kind of golden here. I think. So I think we're kind of ready to go. I mean, the edges are going to be, you know, not totally perfect, but that's okay because, you know, we probably wouldn't have been able to cut them exactly perfect either. And I think it looks pretty dang good. I can just kind of nudge them into place around a little bit one more time if I want. I could starch this and really get it, but I think we're good. Tighten that up side again. Tighten up this side too, if I can grab it. It's all kind of stuck down now. Just giving it one final tug to get that nice circle. Okay, I think we are ready to fuse this all together. So I'm gonna do that. Let's move Zeb now. I don't wanna hurt him. Okay, let's scooch over here. We will lay out our piece again. So, all right. Here's our guy, but you know what? Remember we made this bigger than we needed to. I'm gonna just, for my own reference, just so I can, so it can help me place the design. I think I'm gonna put, my 6.5 inch ruler on here and get right in the center. So that would be 3 1/4 inch. And I'm gonna just draw. I'm lining the 3 1/4 inch with my center line there. I am gonna just draw a square here so it helps me just lay out my design a little bit. We'll ultimately cut it down to 6.5 inches. And if a little bit of this blue is on yet, it'll come off with water. Oh geez, I really pressed lightly there. We're gonna have to do that again. Hold on. I can't see it on the bottom line. I can see it on the top. There, let's just scrape it on there a little bit more. I think that'll do. Okay, there we go. I think we can see just fine. I am gonna place it on my pressing mat right away so I don't like spend time placing it all pretty and then have it move on me right away. Oh, there is a couple more steps we need to do over here though. So sorry guys, we're gonna go back over here. We need to take the paper backing off of these. But on these ones, since we want this edge to stay super duper pretty and nice, I'm gonna actually score the backs of these with just a pin. Because I don't want to be, with these, I don't want to be picking at the edge, right? Because if I pick at the edge, then I'm gonna start fraying these edges. So I'm gonna just crisscross, put an X in there. You can see right there, a little X. And now I can flip the paper up and kind of tear from the middle. And we're gonna have nicer edges by doing that. So here we can go all the way around now. Okay, so there's that piece. You guys, it looks like we may go a hair over tonight, but we're gonna get these fused down. So again, scratch the edge. And then tomorrow, what we'll do is we will quickly stitch these down and we'll be done fairly quickly with this block tomorrow. And then we will pick one of our blocks that we don't have done yet and work on that tomorrow a little bit. So we're gonna play a little bit of catch up tomorrow, which will be awesome. Don't wanna get too far behind. So we'll have to pick tomorrow which one to work on. They all are handwork stuff, so it's all either embroidery or needle turn applique are the bits on the other blocks that I don't have done. So we can choose between needle turn or embroidery tomorrow. Jennifer, block 5, that's the block that I haven't done yet. Block 5 I will be doing on Saturday. So if you didn't get my email, I sent an email out today, or if you weren't here at the beginning, I am going to have a Saturday sewing session. So on Saturday at 10 a.m., or 10:30, 10:30 a.m. Central Time, I will be working on block 5. So we're going to do a Saturday session. Okay, there we are. So I'm going to use the guide on the instructions here. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it where all this is placed. It looks like the edges of the leaves are overflowing this center line a little bit, and it also looks like the flower is kind of tucked just a bit under the edge of that center line too. So let's just maybe start with this guy. I know that doesn't make total sense because the stem has to go underneath, but I just kind of want to center him. And now we'll kind of tuck in the stem underneath there. If you really want to be hardcore, you could fold this in half or line up your lines and get a nice center seam, but I'm just going to eyeball it. Oh man, I can tell I'm getting into perfection zone though, which happens when it's super late, so I'm going to actually get a ruler here. Laurie, no, I'm going to place everything in place, and then I'm going to just press the whole thing at once. So in theory, the center of this should be 3 1/4 inches, right? So that would be about right here. And I'm going to just overlap it, my bottom edge a little bit. And there, I think that's our stem. I'm getting really picky now if I'm measuring it in the middle there. All right, and let's just kind of stick this guy down, I think just below the edge a little, like that. Okay, let's center the dude in the middle. Ooh, he is cute. I like that little flower in the middle. I'm going to scoot you guys over a little so maybe you can see a little bit better. And then let's get just these leafies in. And the leaves look like they butt up right against the stem and then overlap into the top area, just a hair. And remember, we need a 1/4 inch seam allowance ultimately when our quilt is done to sew it in, so I need to bring them in just a hair more, because otherwise I'm going to lose them in the seam. Yeah, so maybe just kind of right like that. Yeah, I think we'll be okay there. So let's try and mimic that over here. So this seam is sticky again, so I can just kind of stick these on like a sticker. If you're doing it with just a normal fusible web, you'll just lay them here. How are we looking? Is that okay? Do we want to scooch this guy a little bit? I think it's okay because the top is going to be there. You know what? I think we're ready. Let's push these down and give it a little fuse. So, all right, let's do it. I'm going to just go on the whole thing. We'll start with that top circle because he's kind of weird. He's the little puffy area. So holding it there for about 10 seconds. And we'll get this edge. Actually, let's make sure we get that stem. Get a little bit away from my acrylic table. Let's get a leaf on one side. So you can tell, I mean, you know, it's very subtle. Like maybe I should find a fabric that's a little darker in the future, you know, because I'm doing all these neutral colors, so it is very, very neutral. But ooh, I know what we could do. Here, we'll top stitch it with this orange. I have a 12 weight orange. We'll top stitch the whole thing with that orange, and that'll be our little pop of color, and that will help call out these leaves and everything a little bit more. Oh, you just love my blonde Splendid Sampler too, Noeline. Oh yeah, I love your suggestion about calling it a blonde quilt. It totally is a blonde quilt. So I think I'm going to have to do a little bit more on, unless it's, oh, you know what? That's pretty well fused. So remember, on the batting piece, we really only have that center area with the fusible. And so the rest is going to float a little bit here. So, all right, let's put it on here and check it out a little bit. So we're all attached now. So all we have to do now is do the raw or do the little stitching on the edge. I'm gonna just literally do a straight stitch around the edges. I don't have any fancy stitches. If you had a blanket stitch on your sewing machine, this would be adorable as a blanket stitch, a sewing machine blanket stitch. And then as I stitch this edge down, then it's not going to be flappy like this anymore, right? So that's why it's okay if it's floppy now. I'm just going to stitch around the edge real nice, and then that will be held down as well. And I may even get the free motion quilting foot on, and I may add a couple swirls in here and maybe some leaves or something if we get fancy tomorrow. But anyway, we are fused down, so this guy is basically done except for our little stitching edge. And what's so cute is that when we get this stitched down, this batting piece is just going to puff right up, I think, especially once we stitch here. So we'll stitch around this edge, but we'll also stitch around this edge. So that will squish the batting as well, stitching around here. So this guy is also going to pop. The middle circle is going to pop, and this outside circle is going to pop. But look how freaking cute that is. I love it. So sweet. And, you know, we did all this in an hour. And, you know, even picking the colors and cutting it and everything. So tomorrow, just real quick, we'll sew along the edges with a straight stitch, and Dunzo will be okay with that. Ooh, it would be cute with little petals in the background too, but we're not going to do all that. Oh, and then we'll trim it down to the 6.5 inches. So that is the plan for that. So that's tomorrow, and then we'll also pick up some of our either embroidery or needle turn applique on one of our other blocks that we don't have done yet. So I'm going to flip you guys around, and we will call it an evening for this. Hello! So I just want to show you guys what it looks like with a human next to it, because that's when you can really start getting the size of it. So here we go. Oh, and then when you look at it from far away, you can start to see it. So I mean, I think it really does, just for contrast, I do think it really does need that orange outline. I mean, it's going to be subtle, but I think that's going to really help the flowers pop a little bit more. But I do think this yellow is such kind of like a neonish yellow. I think that's going to look really nice. Just a subtle, sweet little blonde block. So, all right, I'm excited for that, and we still got the batting in, and that's what was just something fresh and new for me. I hadn't really done that before, sticking the batting in there, and I definitely haven't tried it with the fusible. I'm sure there's probably a cleaner, fancier way to get it so we can still get the edges down and do the batting still have it fusible, but who knows? Someone has a trick for everything, but we gave it a try this way, and I think it's going to work just fine. So, all right, guys, I will get this up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies. If you want to give it a gander there, watch. You can see it all there again. I'm organizing every block in a series of videos. So if you go to the Splendid Sampler 2, you'll see it divided into playlists for the different blocks there. And if I haven't finished a block in that playlist, it's because I haven't finished the block. So as I finish the blocks, then those playlists you'll have the whole video for the entire block on there. So I will get that up, and be sure to check Mass Drop. My embroidery kits are up on there. They're cheaper than they were even last time on Mass Drop. They have sales there, and they're only there for like 5 to 7 days. So be sure to check that out. I put a link, and then all the products that we talked about today should be in the link below as well. I know you had interest in the scissors and the steam-a-seam and the iron, and all those links are posted here as well. So have a great rest of your evening, guys, and I will see you tomorrow. And I'll also see you Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. Good night.